Hi everyone, welcome to the Movieception Show. My name is Fariba, and today we're kind of getting an early gift on a Friday, which is The Last of Us Episode 5. For those of you who don't already know, Last of Us Episode 5 is dropping a little early because the Super Bowl is this Sunday, so I guess in this rare case we are getting an episode earlier than usual. I don't know if this ever happened before in, any sort of television history. But I mean, without a doubt, at least we're now getting an episode a bit early on, which means we get to see what's going to happen in episode 5, learn about who Harry and I believe Sam are. And I mean, from what I've been reading, apparently it's going to be very heartbreaking. So yeah, without further ado, let's watch The Last of Us Episode 5. Oh my. I mean, this is basically what a coop is, so. Oh. I'm getting some menacing vibes here.
Your neighbors to Fedra, watching us get thrown in prison, watching us hang so that you could get medicine, alcohol, fucking apples. Did it make you feel better?
Oof.
Did it make you feel safe?
Oh, she a bad bitch.
Fedra, lucky for you, no one here has to die. Yeah. We could put... I guess they don't know. Kill him.
He's with Edel's team.
When you're done, burn the bodies. It's faster.
Oh, wow. I mean, they're no different than Fedra at this point, so... Oh, okay, we're going back in time a little bit. Okay. This is going back in time, so this is before Ellie and Joel arrive.
Patient. Do me a favor. Water, police.
And that's the doctor, right? The one that she killed later on.
Department's full out. We're tied into the QZ main. He's scared because you're scared.
Good point. Aww. Oh, they were there for 10 days? What? Yeah. Eventually they do. Oh. Oh, this story. Oh god. That is, oh my god. That's too cute. That's Joel and Ellie. That's Joel and Ellie. Oh wow, he's been watching them. Oh wow. Okay. Oh my god, look at that poor little boy.
Joel.
Nice.
Joel!
Oh, Joel.
Eyes on me. Eyes on me.
Okay.
Okay,
Is Joel telling he's okay?
He has an asshole voice.
Everything's great.
Dude.
fuck. Okay.
Joel.
He says thank you.
Oh.
Joel, look, you ain't. We didn't kill each other.
So that's the deal. I show the way. You clear the way.
Oh.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
So how are we getting out?
Joel's so confused. Tunnels. Okay.
Boom.
Kansas City has a subway?
No. It's empty.
You've been down there.
No. But the federal guy that I worked with told me that it's clean. Completely clean. They cleared it out. All of it.
When?
Like,
We need to get out of sight.
I think it's this way.
Oh my god, his age.
Good. We've been down here 2 seconds. We don't know anything.
Dad's kind of a pessimist.
I'm not
my
her dad.
dad.
Punch right forward. And be ready to run.
Aw, Sam is such an innocent boy. I love him. Oh. Was this a place for kids? Oh man. Oh man.
I heard about places like this.
To the edge of the universe and
Aww.
back, endure and survive. Endure, survive, endure.
Joel's being so impatient. Oh, football.
Come on, what's the back? Yeah!
I shouldn't have said what I said. I don't know your situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying they should let it go, but all things considered, seems kind of cruel.
Hungry man. The leader of the resistance movement in Kansas City.
Kathleen's brother?
And Kathleen's brother. Yeah.
He would be right.
I know that too. He
Oh.
told me. The last time I saw him alive, in jail, he told me to forgive.
Whew. That means he understood.
And what did he get for that?
Huge state, it can fit 2 more people.
Joel's like, shut up.
Maybe we just call this one a success.
Ever happening. And then I'm like, I'm gonna ask you 1,000,000 more times. And he's like,
He does have shit aim. Oh shit. Oh shit. Come on. Oh shit.
Okay.
Oh my god, look at how scared Sam is. Shit.
that's alright, doesn't matter.
Oh my god, look at Sam.
I'll come out.
Is it
supposed to die?
He's just a fucking kid.
Well, kids
Heartless.
die, Henry. They die all the time.
Heartless.
You think the whole world revolves around him? That he's
Don't tell me it's one of those holes. Don't tell me it's one of those holes. Shit! What the fuck? What? What? Oh shit. Oh shit. Shit, 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 shit. Oh, that's a monster. What? What? Oh my god. Oh shit. Oh my god, look at Joel. Oh my god, oh my god, no! Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh shit! Oh! But were they bit? It looks like they got bit. Run! How about run? Oh my god!
Wyoming, I'm probably walking. But, you know, if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joel.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice for Sam to have a friend.
He's limping. I think he's bit. He's been bit.
That means you're in section 153.
He's bit. Look at his face. He's bit. Look at his face. He's bit.
Never.
Yo, he got bit. Look at his face.
I'm scared. All the time.
Oh. Oh no. No, no. No. Did it work? Did it work? Did it work? I mean, that's not how vaccines work, but tell me there's some way that that worked.
Promise.
Sam does not deserve this. Oh my no.
Ellie.
Oh. Oh. Man, okay, so that was episode 5 of The Last of Us, and it takes a while to really just take in everything that's happened, because I mean, let's be honest, like when we were getting to this episode, when I was hearing about Sam and Henry, these two characters, I had a feeling that there was going to be tragedy, heartbreak, but not in a way that I saw in this episode, and that's just so hard to take in. And oh my god, oh wow. I mean, I don't even know how to really talk about this episode, because it's just like you meet characters like Sam and Henry, like these are people who are just caught up in the most horrible way possible, and oh man, I'm like super upset. I'm like really upset. It's just trying to take in kind of just everything that's happened, and it's just really hard to just talk about what we just saw. And it's like as we start off this episode, we really just learn like Sam and Henry right away. Like we don't even have to go all the way back to their backstory, like the way that we saw with Joel, the way we saw with Bill and Frank. We just needed the snippet to understand right away how their situation is like in this whole world where, you know, it's the infected and all they have is just each other, and the sacrifices as well as the things that they're willing to do if it means having to protect one another. And you can see that exactly from Henry, right? Like for Henry, it was always about his brother, and if it means, you know, giving up someone from the resistance to, you know, save his brother with the medicine that they need, then that's what it will take for them. And one of the things I really enjoy about, or I want to say enjoy, because let's be honest, like I felt so much heartbreak, but one of the things that I will say that this show has done such a phenomenal job is really just showing the humanistic side of all things, right? When we see these survivalist shows, whether it be Last of Us, Walking Dead, 28 Days Later series, they always focus on things like the clickers, the infected, the zombies, the monster parts of it. But this show really, really does a phenomenal job showing the more humanistic side, showing that, you know, this grayness of all these characters. They're not all innocent in the way they're doing, but yet you can understand what their, you know, their processes are, what the decisions that they make, what influences them. And we see that directly with Sam and Henry here, where it's like, especially in Henry's case, like the reason why he's doing everything that he's done is because he's trying to protect Sam. And we see that in this episode up from the beginning to the end, right? And I mean, it's just like I anticipated that there's going to be something tragic happening, right? Like, this is not a series where it's going to be like daisies and roses. This is a show that really shows kind of the worst side of things, I guess you can say, the tragedy of it all, but also in a way how there is still the hope, right? The hope that is Ellie. And we see that throughout this episode where we see the tragedy, but there's also that hope, right? Like, we still have that inch of hope that is really just pushing through the show, that, you know, it's not the end of it all. And yet every time we feel that sense of hope, we meet these characters who, you know, we get to know them. And even in this case with Henry and Sam, like, we only got to know them for this one episode, right? And right away you can feel for them. Right away you are just feeling for them. And especially in this case, like, someone as innocent as Sam, someone who's such a young boy, like, I think that really not didn't just get us, but also Ellie, and I mean Henry of course. But I think the more you watch this episode, the more you really want to, like, you know, root for Sam and Henry to make it. But of course, anybody who's a gamer probably knew what was going to happen. I had a sense that something good was not going to happen, just because, like, this is The Last of Us. This is what the show is about. And that was just heartbreaking, right? I think the moment that, you know, you see a kid like Sam, right? He is such an innocent boy. He, you know, he's just going through life. He's being protected by, you know, I'm assuming Henry is his brother. He's just an innocent kid, right? Like, I think that's the worst of it all. It's like, we have somebody like Sam who is just an innocent bystander, right? He's just somebody who's trying to live through this horrible, you know, world that is, you know, infected with these infected, right? And here it is, like, you know, he's trying to get through. He's trying to be this innocent little boy who's trying to have some sort of childhood, right? Like, whether it be reading the comic books, being by his brother's side, feeling like as if he was a superhero. I mean, it's tragic. And I mean, every time I see him, you know, interacting with Ellie, like, you can tell from Ellie, like, for her, she was feeling this sense of, you know, this, I guess for her, it was her sense of feeling hope, right? Like, she was, the more she interacted with Sam, the more she felt like, you know, maybe there is a chance of, you know, bringing humanity back to where it was before 2003, right? Before the outbreak. And I feel like the more you watch Ellie just getting close to the kid, the more you're just, like, hoping, like, man, there could be some hope. And just to see that, you know, how Ellie goes through in this episode, only to see just something so sudden happen, right? Like, even her blood couldn't even save him, right? I think that's what is so heartbreaking. Like, it's like, you see a kid who just goes through all of that, who didn't deserve any of that, whose brother did everything, sacrificed everything, even gave up people's names just so that, you know, he can survive, only for, you know, for something tragic to happen. Like, that is just horrible. And then, of course, at the end of it, you see that Henry does kill himself, because, like, for him, he doesn't have anybody left, right? And I think that this is kind of what Joel has always feared. I think that's something that we see from Joel's face at the end. I think that from what we saw was Bill and Frank just sort of this, more of this happy tale, like, oh, there is not just, you know, this hope, but there is a way to find some purpose in life. Like, you know, there's something that, you know, when we are looking at humans and the way that they live, like, there is a choice in everything. And we saw that with Bill and Frank, where even when they were living in a world where it was affected, they were able to have what was a bit more of a happier ending, even though it is tragic because of, you know, they do kill themselves as well, but for them, they had that choice, right? Whereas here in this case, we see a whole different side of it, a whole antithesis of, like, one side being kind of like a more, you know, a purposeful, more hopeful side. Here we see the opposite, where it is the most tragic of it all, kind of just going back to giving us this reality check of what this world really is. And I think that really had set on with Joel and Ellie in this episode, where, yeah, we've seen some hope, and here it is, kind of just the worst of it, just a reminder what this world is. And we see that with Sam and Henry, where, you know, they didn't have that happy ending. They didn't get that choice. They didn't get the chance to continue on with their life. And I think that when you see that last couple minutes, right, we see Ellie just become a changed person, right? When in some of the previous episodes, like even with the test episode, right, like I think with Ellie, she's managed to move on. She's managed to somehow make light of everything, right? Even with Tess's death, right? I think she was able to cope with that and move on. And I think that I think with Sam's death, we've gotten to a point where she's at her breaking point, where I think not only has she realized the reality of it all, but not only has her blood not done anything to save him, but she couldn't do anything to save him. I think that's what really truly what broke her. And we see that in this episode where Ellie just seems like a whole different person. And I think, again, when we look at this, it's like we're seeing a whole different reality of it all. We're seeing kind of the worst of what is this world that has really hit on Joel and Ellie, especially with Joel, because we all know with Joel, like, he already lost his daughter early on 20 years ago, and the only reason why he's, you know, continuing on this journey is, for one, because of his brother, and two, and like he won't admit it, but two, is because of Ellie. And the more he's getting closer to her, the more he's starting to feel like there was hope, right? We've been seeing how he's been smiling in the last episode, how he smiled for the first time in 20 years, or the fact that, you know, he's starting to see, like, he saw Sam and Henry and saw kind of like, you know, that there is a purpose in fighting, right? And then here it is, like, he sees Sam becomes infected. He sees that Henry has nothing else to live for, and then he kills himself. And I think that Joel may have been just forewarned that this could be the reality for him, right? Like, he even argued in the last episode that, you know, the reason why he's still fighting is because of family, right? And here in this episode, we saw that Henry lost what I assume would be the last thing that he has in his life, his last thing, the last person that he would see is family. And now that he's gone, we see that he has nothing else to live for. And I think that that's probably the worst fear that I think Joel has, right? I mean, not even just with Joel, but Ellie. We saw Ellie even say her worst fear is that she is going to be alone, right? And here it is, we see kind of that scenario where Henry is now alone, right? Like, he doesn't really know Joel, he doesn't know Ellie that well, and the reason why he kept fighting was because of Sam. And again, we're seeing this sort of this reality check of what this world is. We see it in one case where, yeah, like, everything seems, you know, there is a chance of things, again, what we saw with Bill and Frank's story, but now we're seeing again the realities of this tragedy that is this world, and how, you know, with what happened with Henry and Sam, we're kind of seeing kind of, you know, Joel and Ellie just at their really low point. Like, now I wouldn't say low point like as if, you know, they have nothing else to live for, but I think that they've understood just sort of this tragedy of this whole life and the sadness of it. And I mean, I think this really hits Ellie more, because I think what we saw here was kind of what Joel felt 20 years ago when he lost Sarah, right? Like, like, I think one of the things that I'm starting to really understand more of the show is that there is kind of this phase that everyone goes through as they start to realize the truth of this, you know, this apocalyptic dystopian world. And that is that, you know, like, with someone like Ellie, she's a kid, right? Like, no kid should have to deal with the worst of the worst. They should always be smiling, as, you know, as they always can. That was something that we were seeing with Sam. Like, Sam and Ellie are just kids who should, you know, live the fullest of their lives. They're the ones, you know, they should have this opportunity to, you know, continue on with their lives. And, you know, and even as Joel said, it's easier on the kids to, you know, move on, whereas, you know, it's harder for adults. And then here it is, I think we see sort of a point where it's like a whole new phase for Ellie. Like, Ellie has now understood what this world is now that Sam has died. Like, she tried to protect this kid as much as she could, and she couldn't, and then she even leaves a message saying, "I'm sorry." And I think that this is just kind of Ellie just realizing, I think she's finally gone to the point where, or that phase where she's now understood just, like, you know, how horrible this world is. And that, you know, as much as the fact that she will, you know, say puns or tries to make jokes and whatnot, I think we've now gone to a point where she's kind of at her lowest of low, right? Where I think reality has finally sunk in for her. And as much as the fact that she tries to make light of everything that's happening in this world, there's always something that makes it 2 times worse. And I think that's what we saw in this episode. And here it is. And then here it is where we see with Joel that he's noticed that change in Ellie, right? She seems like a whole different person. And I think Joel feels just so much guilt, I guess you can say, like, knowing that now, you know, for someone like Joel, he's been through this, right? He's understood what it feels to be in her position. He knows what it's like to feel with this loss, to, you know, have so much hope, you know, to try and carry someone as far as they can, only to see that, you know, they failed. And I think that Joel has seen sort of that reaction, that sort of feeling that Ellie's going through, and now he's starting to notice that. And I think that for him, it's like, I think it's also setting in for him that, you know, this is the worst that they're dealing with, and this is the world that they're living with. And like, even with the purpose that he still has, which is Ellie, right? I think it's set on for him that, you know, this world is tragic, and then who knows what's gonna happen moving forward, right? Like, is he gonna continue on trying to be closer to Ellie? Is he gonna try and be a bit more restrained? Do you think, like, is he going to continue on with it and just, you know, try to have some light, some purpose in continuing on with this journey? I mean, it seems like they will continue the journey for sure to get to Wyoming and, you know, find his brother Tommy as soon as he can, of course. But I think that this really has changed sort of, not really just the dynamic, but just down the tone, just the feelings of it all, just kind of how everyone's feeling at the moment. I think everyone's really down. It's gonna take some time to recover from that, even if there is any chance of recovery. But that was definitely a very hard episode to deal with, and I think that this episode showed just the opposite of what is episode 3, and that is the tragedy of life, and somehow, you know, how things just don't always go everyone's way. And this was just, again, really, really tragic. I mean, it's really hard to just digest everything that's happened. Sam did not deserve that. Henry did not deserve that. No one deserves that. Ellie does not deserve to see something like that happen, and yet it all happened. And again, we're just facing the worst of what is going on in this humanity, and there's just no way of controlling that. I think that's kind of sinking in a lot for Ellie and Joel as they continue on with their journey. So, but yeah, that's all I really have to say about it, because again, it's really hard to just, you know, get with what just happened. Like, again, I expected it to happen, but not like that. That was just the worst thing that's ever happened. Like, I mean, definitely not what I would have expected. And yet again, the way you can just see from Sam's face, like, you can tell he was bit, and it's like, you don't want that to be true, and yet it happened. And it was far worse than I would have imagined with the outcome of it all. But yeah, and I think that hit not just us, but not just Ellie and Joel, but it also hit us as audience. So that's all I have to say about episode 5. That is going to take some time to really just, you know, take in. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. What are your thoughts about episode 5? What do you think about Ellie and Joel? What do you think this episode has done? Like, how would you compare this to some of the other episodes? Do you agree with kind of what my assessments are in terms of the purpose of this episode, how it served, kind of the antithesis of episode 3 in a way? How do you feel about Sam and Henry's story in general? What do you feel about Ellie and Joel now, knowing that you just experienced that? What does that mean for their relationship moving forward? Will Ellie recover? Because I feel like right now, I think if there's anyone who's hit hard right now, it's going to be Ellie. I think she's kind of at her rock bottom. So that's going to be a lot of questions there. What does this mean for Joel? Will he continue on? Will he do what he needs to do? Will he, you know, continue to be sort of this father figure that he doesn't want to be, and yet he's been sort of showing up as a father figure? What are going to be the next obstacles moving forward? Are we going to get to Wyoming soon enough, right? And what do you expect for the last 4 episodes now that we're more than halfway through? Let me know in the comments down below, and make sure to like and subscribe.